baby. Proclaim to be known. All I need is you, baby, baby. Over love. Over love.
I'm on
One.
2. No, that's 2.
2,
No, 3.
4. This is for the Snickers bars. 5.
This is for all the pina coladas. 14, 15, 16, 29, 30. Yeah, good job. When life leaves you hanging, don't quit. Train insane or remain the same. I like that. It looks like a gym. I feel pretty good. I like getting up in the morning and starting the morning off feeling strong, or at least stronger.
Oh, hello.
Proclaim to be known.
Good job. Starting to get a little chilly here in the mornings. It's kind of nice, but a little bit like, man, I still feel like summer just started. But there's an easy workaround here, which is don't switch from tank tops right away, which might be the tendency you feel, but just start off with a sweatshirt over your tank top. Hey, it sounds good. Keep on going.
Somebody mentions your name, so when I leave here on this earth, did I take more than I did?
Oh, wow, that was really close. He doesn't know what to do at this part. Was that the intro?
No, that was just intro to you.
All right, time for Q&A.
7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
You'll never have the sacred stone.
Oh, this you crazy mother.
L'Oreal2 asks, Cami, have you ever struggled with feeling less than or not enough as a wife, mother, and woman? If so, how did you overcome it? Yes, I have struggled a lot in all 3 of these areas, and the mothering area is one that I've really struggled with homeschooling and feeling like, oh, my kids need to do X, Y, and Z in order to have it all together and make me feel like I'm a certain type of mom. But I really think in actually all 3 of these areas, the thing that I started to believe was that none of my identity or my worth comes from any one of these areas. And it's really confusing because all 3 of these areas are important, But when we try to get our identity from these things, it like will suck the life out of you, and it will never be enough. And I started to rest on this other identity, which was, what does God think of me, and what did He do for me, and what did Jesus do for me to make me good enough right now as I am, wife, mother, woman, as unfinished as I am, as with all my faults and everything that's in the future and the past. I am good enough right now. So that belief has gotten stronger over the years, and it's allowed me to, if my kids don't know math and someone comes up to me and says, wow, your kids don't know math, I can kind of like brush that off and be like, yeah, well, I think it's okay because that doesn't define me. That's not actually who I am.
I think it really drained the kids too when you were trying so hard.
The whole family.
Yeah. You know, it goes both ways, but when you're trying so hard to be a good mom or a good dad or a good person, and you're making everyone do things so that you feel good, it's a huge drain. And I think the kids look up to you so much more now and enjoy you so much more now that you've stopped trying to be
and
a good mom.
I enjoy life and them more.
I think you're a way better mom when you find your definition outside of performance anyways.
Right.
MePound33 asks, have you always agreed on the topics of alcohol and cigars, or was there a time when one of you was opposed? If one of you was opposed, would the other still partake? Where is the line in marriage between autonomy and commitment to your spouse on issues like this? That is a great question. Alcohol and cigars hasn't been a tough topic for our marriage, but we have had other things. Anytime you're trying to control someone else's behavior, it never really works out that great for anything. And I, for me, with you, I think I didn't like the types of TV shows you were watching or the frequency. And I think TV shows are just as bad for you as cigars are, certain TV shows. So I was like really trying to control that early on and use guilt and manipulation and just control to get you to stop. I guess one could say, oh, well, cigars or TV shows are dangerous, so you know there's a win there. But really, I feel like it's your choice. I mean, if it's impacting our family a lot, I think I should tell you that.
With your spouse or any other adult, you have to treat them like another adult. Because if you don't, it just gets really wonky with the whole like treating them like a child kind of thing. And that's really what we're doing. Like when you tell someone you can't do that, or you shouldn't do that, or you know, you're kind of treating them like they're 5 years old.
And that's a really, I think, bummer thing from a dude's perspective, to be told like, okay, you're hanging out with the bros or Cammy, and you can't smoke. And maybe like the guy won't, but sometimes I feel like they're actually becoming like demasculated, what's the word? Like less of who they really are. And smoking's a bad example because maybe it's bad for you, I don't know, but
even if it is though, like,
it's a choice I think they get to make.
Yeah, and I would say this reverse too. Like if the woman is the one drinking and smoking and the guy doesn't like it, like, or if he should do the same thing and respect
if she's pounding chocolate.
Autonomy.
If you're pounding chocolate, you know, and this happened with Cammy's on Snickers bar.
Watching soap operas and bonbons. And
I was like seeing you eating these Snickers bars. I'm like, oh, that's like a lot of sugar. That's really bad for you.
Yeah.
Like it's not something I want to do. And I think in the past I would shame her.
Yeah.
And she would actually not eat them because I would shame her, but she would still want them.
Right.
And I think it's better for her to learn herself.
Right.
What she wants.
Because you're changing my behavior, but it's not really like, you know.
Now I do think, MePound33, you also get to decide what you want to do. Yeah. So if your husband comes home smelling like an ashtray and he wants to kiss you and you don't want to kiss someone that smells like an ashtray, you have every right to say, I'm not going to kiss you if you smell like an ashtray. I would just be careful though that you're using that for your preference and safety, not to try and get him to change, because that's manipulation. And we all have the right to create boundaries and say, I'm not going to get in the car if you're drunk, but it's another thing to say, well, I'm not going to be around you for 1 week after you drink. Like, that's like, there's a difference.
Or even to say like snide comments like, oh, man, you really reek. Like, I don't know, just like that's like not, it's not helping anyone.
Yeah.
It's kind of a passive aggressive thing. Adam and Joy Plus 7 asks, how do you deal with a child when they start to act entitled? Our kiddos have never really been spoiled, however they often act as if the world should be served to them on a platter.
I act entitled to something when she gives it to me. And it's really easy with our kids or others to try and like verbally say like, I'm different now, I'm not gonna spoil you, or I'm not gonna this or that. It doesn't matter how much you say that, it matters what you do. So if you give your kids what they want, all of a sudden when they don't get what they want, they're gonna be really shocked and surprised because you're the one that trained them to expect what it is they want.
We shouldn't be shocked and surprised when they start acting that way. It's kind of just natural.
So the only thing is whatever it is you think makes them spoiled, which to me there's not like a firm line on that. Let's just take a made up example. If our kids are like, hey, we think we deserve dessert every day after dinner, we would say, no you don't. We're not gonna have it.
There may be a time where they kind of kick and scream about it and are not happy with it, but I think sometimes in order to make new habits or new attitudes with our kids, you kind of have to go through that.
And it's okay for them to be disappointed. Germanina asks, do you have any friends that are atheists? I don't know if we have any friends anymore, period. I mean, we do, but there's not many, and not many that are atheists that I know of. Like, I mean, I think we have like 3 to 5 friends, depending on the day. But our family members are atheists. I think my brother-in-law might identify as atheist that lives right there, and maybe my sister, I actually don't know.
Jenny Schuessler asks, what is the next hard thing you are planning on accomplishing together as a family? We have something in the works that is pretty big that we want to accomplish as a family, but we're not ready to talk about it yet.
We're really excited about this question because it was asked on YouTube, not on Instagram, in response to the Q&A last week, which was about when to talk to your kids about sex. And this was actually the person that asked that question.
So Christina asks, I was a member of a very conservative church and was taught that sex was a delicate subject. I never looked for much teaching on how to talk to my son about it. I was leery about saying anything when he was young. Now I wish I had done it a bit different. I feel anxiety about the thought that I would speak openly about it nonchalantly to my kids. Because I don't incorporate it into our life now, they don't have questions. So I feel like I am in a dilemma. Do I try to incorporate it into our lives? If so, I have no clue how. Or do I cause a discussion somehow that would open up a discussion? I grew up in a pretty conservative church as well that didn't really talk about sex, and so I still really struggle with talking about it, even though
it feels weird to us.
It may look like I don't. And I kind of swallow down. It's like my beliefs are trumping my emotions, like all the way. I felt like I was crawling out of my skin when we were talking to our kid about masturbation. But I knew it was important and I wanted to do it so much. But man, was it hard. But actually, and I don't know if you have this, but if you have a spouse that doesn't struggle as much, or maybe has strengths where you're weaker, I think that's a great asset to have. And even if you guys are both struggling, it's good to like kind of bounce things off of each other if you can. If it wasn't for Ben, a lot of these conversations wouldn't be happening, but he gives me a push and I'm like, yeah, I believe in this. And so we end up having the talks, you know, with our kids.
Here's a few tips though that I think that help us and could really help you. One is, we believe that saying something is better than saying nothing. So it sounds weird, but even if you say, hey kid, this is awkward and I don't know how to do this. Basically whatever you wrote in your comment, you know, you can just tell your kid that, like, I did it this way and I wish I would have done it differently. That actually, I think, can mean a lot to a kid to hear that. And sometimes I feel like there's this bar where we feel like we have to give this expert talk or this sermon, or it has to meet this textbook criteria. And I think if that's your goal, like, that's not the point of parenting is to be an expert. It's to actually be present. It's to be a companion. You know, there's a lot of times where God doesn't give us the answer, but he is there with us. And that's all we're doing as a parent is in this topic, we're saying, you know, this thing, it's weird and it's hard, and we're here with you.
Yeah.
That's like, if you can accomplish that, you've made it.
Because then you're opening up times for in the future. It's not going to be as weird for your kid to come to you and talk about sex because you've already tried. I'd also say when you don't say anything, kids just naturally plug in all these crazy ideas and lies, even about what you think sex is.
If you sit and ask your kid a question, you're like, hey, so tell me about your deepest thing. Like, it's gonna be super awkward and hard. You're probably gonna get blank stares. So we have found as parents, we have to lead with our weakness. We have to share the thing that's awkward and hard for us, not expect our kids to do that. And it's not until they actually see that it's safe, like with their eyes and their own ears, that they're going to move forward. Because we haven't shown them that it's safe. We're like, hey, it's okay if you have weird stuff, but I don't have any weird stuff. You know, it's like, they have to hear our weird stuff. So I think the best way to do this, one easy way to get started, I mean, I say it's easy, but it's like simple at least, is to tell your story to your kids. When did you start having sexual feelings? How did you deal with those when you were a kid? What did you learn? What do you regret? What have you done right? What are you excited about now? Or what are you disappointed about now? This is just your story and you can't get it wrong. There's nothing wrong about it. It's yours and only you have it and only you can give it. Not only is that enough, I think that is a great place to start. Because your kids are made of the same stuff that you are. And when they start hearing that what they're going through, someone else has gone through, that's the biggest compliment I think I got from one of our daughters, was she said, you make me not feel as crazy and that I'm gonna turn out okay. You know, because the stuff that's going on in her head, she thought no one had ever done that before. And I said, yeah, I used to think that stuff all the time. And she sees me now and she's like, oh, that's okay, I don't mind being that. Thanks for the questions, guys. I'm really excited about going on date night with you.
Yep, me too.
Let's go.
Low on beer cheese. The problem.
Where's our guy? Can we get one more beer cheese, please? Now we can afford to be a little more liberal with the beer cheese.
Yummy. Yummy. That was really fun. Now we're off to part 2 of our date. Check out these clouds. They're so pretty.
Okay, we just had an amazing dessert and cigar, and it was like pouring down rain, and we're undercover under these heat lamps. And normally that'd be the end of the vlog. We would just like show some music and you guys got a picture of our date night. But there was this really amazing conversation that I enjoyed that I just wanted to pass on to you guys, because these are the little moments that are really valuable to me. I was feeling bummed out because Cammie and I had this cool sexual experience yesterday. And like Cammy's MO is like, she'll never acknowledge that it even happened. At least that's how it feels to me. And that bums me out, and it like hurts my feelings, and I don't really like it. And normally I would just get my feelings hurt and just like give her the silent treatment. This is like years past. But today I said, hey, you know what I would like? I would like it if you said something like, hey, last night was really cool, and I really enjoyed it. Blah, blah, blah. You know, or anything like that. That dog has a light on it.
Safer than we are on these bikes. I was able to talk to him, first of all, just acknowledge that, oh yeah, that happened, and how I felt about it. That I had a good time too, and this is why. And I'm glad that he brought that up, because if that's important to him, then it's important to me.
So here's my little tip. I don't like to do this much, but for you ladies out there, I know this isn't just a ladies thing, but if you had a good time with your man, my guess is he would really appreciate it the next day if you were just like, hey, remember yesterday?
Winky, winky, winky.
Winky, that was awesome. Time to go home.